something about 77. There's something about 77 that I'm a part about. There's something about 77 that these people will hear about. I'm telling you something I know about and I didn't read about it. So what I want to do is, I want to give everybody a chance to say something on Gary's behalf that knew Gary. I think I want that to happen. And since I gathered everybody here today, I think that's going to be the choice that's going to go down. Her name, and she's been a blessing, a good friend, and she's been a part of this whole celebration. Tanya Purdy, come up here and let these people know about Gary Noble. It's right here.
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
So anyway, my name is Tanya, and I live on Florida Drive, so I kind of remember when those boys start coming around to their grandmother's house, and then they moved up there, and so we go way back. So it's just it's a blessing to grow up here in Pasadena and Altadena, and especially the crew that we had that lived around us. I mean, Bill Lynch, Kimmy and I were in kindergarten together. But anyway, we go way back. So it's just a blessing. And Gary, over the years, didn't see him because he moved away. But when we did see him, and Facebook was good for that because it gives you an opportunity to reconnect with people that you don't get to see. And it just warmed my heart to see how he was giving of himself in the ministry and just always wanting to bring others peace and joy, and always was positive. And so I just really enjoyed that about him. And we were like, you're coming to the reunion now, come on. So it was really nice. It was a good time, and I'm glad that he did come, and I'm glad that a lot of people that took the opportunity to come to the reunion, because you just never know. So anyway, it's a blessing, and it was just a blessing to see everybody here, and I just thank you all for coming.
We have another general that's been a part of this celebration, a part of this day, and Roxanne.
Okay, Gary, you know how you just made us all smile. And I just want to thank you for being our friend and for becoming the man of God that you became, and leading people and doing the works that you did for Circle of Love. And I'm just so happy that everybody came out to remember and to honor and just enjoy each other. And I hope that we get to see each other again on a better note. And yeah, that part, because it's always better to see each other on a different level. But you know, hey, Gary brought us together for this, so let's give him a hand. Let's give Gary a hand. Come on now, y'all. Let's show it out. Let's show it out. Let's show that love that he gave. And I got to get it out.
Another neighbor of his that lives right down the street. As soon as he started walking in the park, I said, that's Bill Lynch. Bill Lynch, come and speak on Gary Noble's behalf.
Hello, yeah. So I grew up with Gary, and I'll just say Gary was an awesome dude. Gary was an awesome dude. He was a great athlete, and I didn't know at the time, but he was a really nice person. Like Kimmy said, Gary, I never had a fight with Gary. He's never like did anything to me. And I would see him like every day. You know, we would play basketball in the mornings before we would go to school, have breakfast. And Gary was an amazing person. For as long as I knew him, Gary was just an amazing guy. He was a great football player, basketball player, baseball player. He was very popular. He would take me, you know, to Los Angeles, to parties, places I would have never, ever been able to go. Because this is a real true story, because Gary had a lot of friends, a lot of girlfriends, and he was just a hard guy to live up to. You couldn't live up to that guy. He just lived a great life. I always was amazed at him, and you know, I always remembered how he was very popular with the girls. But that, and then as I got older, I realized that he wasn't just, you know, a good-looking guy with a lot of girlfriends. He was a really nice person, and that's pretty much it.
Craig Winters.
Hi. Gary Nobles. First time I seen Gary Nobles was at Pasadena Bulldogs tryouts, 6th grade. We're going out for passes, warming up for practice. He goes out for a pass, catches the ball over his head, and I'm like, who is that? He is special. And that's probably the first time I recognized who Gary Nobles was. Love him dearly. He's in glory. And that's where we all want to end up eventually. Love y'all.
Terry Jug Ware. You being called to speak on Gary Nobles, of course.
Where's Robin? Get over here. Get over here. We still do things together. My partner in crime, Robin. Sandia left, so I met Gary in the 7th grade. I don't know what year that was. And Gary was always in trouble in Mr. Rodriguez's class, always on a timeout. But he was always such a beacon of light and hope and inspiration for us all. For me, he was.
Me too. That was my brother. He said I was his little sister, and I love him, and I'm going to miss him.
Right, we loved him, and he's just, you know, life is, you know, we got to keep moving on and moving forward. And sometimes I always think about when people die, like, especially somebody like Gary. Nobody's invincible, but we always think that there are some people who are, and Gary was a person who I thought was invincible. So it was just a big shock to me, but, you know, as they say, he's in a better place now, and God had some other plans for him.
We'll see him again.
Amen.
Jimmy Lawson.
All right. Hey, everybody. I don't know if you remember me. I'm Jimmy Lawson, class of 1977. And Gary, boy, I can remember when I was at Edison, hearing about Gary Nobles and Kimmy Higgins. I couldn't wait to meet these cats. And when I met them, they took me in like, you know, we had been knowing each other forever. And on the football field, Gary did not have the stature of a lot of players, but I'll tell you, I've never played with anybody that had the heart of Gary Nobles, except for this joker right here, because they both was on the small side, but they came with heart, man, and that meant so much to me. And the kindness that he shared was always genuine, and he will be missed.
Darnell Marbo.
Hey, man, turn the mic up, man. No, I can't top them stories y'all told. But I'm going to tell you a real story about you Altadena brothers. Gary Nobles, the only one in this, and I know of, came down to Pasadena to spend the night at my house. Y'all was all scared. You. But no, what I mean, no, I ain't going to lie, though. Gary lived in Altadena, Florida. We lived on Del Monte. Kimmy Higgins didn't come on Del Monte. I know. But I'm just saying I appreciated Gary. Hey, man, I'm just saying I appreciated Gary, though. You know, it was 7 of us. And Gary and them had a big old 5-bedroom house in Altadena. Maybe we had a swimming pool. We had no swimming pool. Kimmy had a swimming pool. But Gary came from Altadena. Bill, you came to my house, Bill, in the daytime. But Gary would come to my house and broke bread with me. Like Alan Shea grew up in Worcester with me. But I'm talking about Gary came from Altadena to Del Monte and hung out with me, the only one. Like, I'm gonna repeat again, because Kimmy can't hear me. Kimmy wouldn't come down there. And I appreciate Gary, and I appreciate his offspring. Little Gary, you got that smile like your daddy, boy. He left us with something. Yeah, I ain't gonna say that part. But Gary was a prankster, and he had my back. But one story Gary know about when he was a white boy named Blaine Neal at McKinley. And he was whooping their ass. I was an IOS. I came back to the school, and Gary and them said, there you go, coach. And I told that white boy, put your hands behind your back. And you better not move. And I think Daryl, And Gary and Kenny Whittingham was socking him. Bill Linson wasn't gonna fight nothing out there, and Kimmy wasn't gonna do nothing either. But Gary tell the story. I know he probably told his kids that. I told him, Blaine, put your hand behind your back. You better not move, boy. And Gary loved that. But I love Gary. I appreciate him, and it's good to see all us out here together. Yeah, all you sisters still looking good. You know, there's a couple of y'all know Coach was. You know, we'll talk about that later though.
Come over here, Iris.
Hi. There you go. I met Gary in elementary at Loma Alta when I moved to Altadena from the Hollywood area, and went to McKinley and Muir, and didn't see him for a long time. But then when we had our class reunion, that's the only one I went to, was the 40th, and that was the best one ever. We partied like it was 1977. But Gary was good people. You know, I met him back in the Carlos Morgan days. Right. You know, so I've been knowing him since yay high. I'm still yay high, but anyway, love you, Gary.
All right. My name is Robert Devon, and I met Gary through sports at Muir, and I grew up with some of the guys, with Jimmy and other guys, and so we didn't really meet until high school. But one thing, and I told his brother that Gary was always positive, and so it was not a surprise to see where he wound up in life, because his journey took him there. He was always positive and encouraging, and I appreciated that about that brother. And I hope that rubs off to everyone here. We always want to remember the good things, but that's one good thing that he cultivated from an early time, and I appreciate that about the brother, and he will be missed.
Donald Jones.
Okay, well, I guess I introduced myself since he called me. Some of you know me as Donald Jones. Some of you know me as Donald Wells. Some of you know me as Donald Pullins now. So pick one and I'll go by it. It's all right. And Fatback, you had to bring that up, huh? Yeah. Anyway, I first met Gary, I guess, back in elementary school. I went to Jackson, and we used to play football up at Elliott Junior High. And, you know, Gary was also known for playing baseball up at Loma Alta Park and Kimmy. And so I always knew them guys with Oscar Moore and them, but we never got a chance to really be friends until we got to junior high school over at McKinley. And Gary was always the guy I had to compete against. You know, he could beat me running when we was in the 7th grade. I got him in the 8th grade, you know, but he could beat me at that time. Yeah. So we were on the baseball team, and, you know, McKinley, we were pretty good at all sports, so we used to beat up on Elliott a lot, and I want to get that out. And Marshall, yeah, and Washington, you know, I want to get that out. I had to get all that out, you know. So, yeah, thank you, Robert. Thank you for admitting that, yeah. So Gary was a big part of that. So we're on the baseball team, and I started out pitching, and then John Jordan started pitching, so they moved me to second base. Now, I done played every position there is in baseball except second base. I was lost. Gary was playing shortstop, so Gary was the only one who knew I was scared out there at second base. He was telling me what plays to do down. This is what we're going to do. You know, this is a play. If it comes here, we're going to throw the ball to you. If you go, I'm going to the right. You come take cover. I said, okay, Gary, I got you. And, you know, I always had a lot of respect for him because of that. Because, you know, during that time, I'm supposed to be like, you know, the big guy hits the baseball out of the park and stuff, and I didn't know how to play second base. You know, that's just kind of like unheard of. But Gary was always there, always with a smile on his face, always popping jokes, you know, with me. And I don't know, when I heard this news, it just kind of set me back a little bit. It hurt, you know, it had me thinking. But then I started thinking about the good times that we had with Gary, you know. Gary was a great guy. I love him. His son looks just, I keep saying that, his son looks just like him. He smiles like him. I love his smile. You know, Gary always had a smile and always had jokes to tell.
Cynthia Maps.
And also my girls, Roxy. Roxy, look up, honey, say hi. We're thanking you too, and Tanya. Where's Tanya? Anyway, I just want to say one word or two words about my baby brother, and that's circle of love. He loved everybody. He always, as far as us girls, he protected us. He had his arms spread out wide. He knew these are my sisters. Hey, you guys, don't mess over them. And we had that protection. So I just wanted to tell you, Gary embraced the circle of love way, 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 way back in 1973 when he met all of us. And brother, mwah, in heaven, I love you with all my heart. All right, all right. Thank you.
Person that been speaking all day today, and I can't go without letting him speak right now. Robert McClin, come on.
First of all,
2 minutes,
I'm gonna have to sit down on this one.
2 minutes.
I met Gary Nobles the first day at John Muir High School. I went to Elliott, and them other clowns went to McKinley. Oh, anyway.
He wasn't saying that though, admit it.
And there's such a thing as a kindred spirit. Gary Nobles and I had a kindred spirit. Over the years, we could miss each other for a couple of months, and then as soon as we connected, it was right like nothing ever happened. Courageous, smart, funny, hell of a dude, spiritual. Gary would call me from St. Louis, and we would get on the phone and pray. And when we would get done, he would say, "Whoo, Mac, my arms, my hair's standing up my arms. Mac, can you feel it? Can you feel it?" Anyway, make a long story short, Gary Nobles, good man, international preacher, all-around guy. And he was my buddy, and my life is enriched because of knowing him. All right?
That's it. Right. Okay. I want to stop it. Thank another person with helping this. Everything that went on today. He came out earlier. We was on the phone. I haven't seen him in a minute. Joe McCombs, come over here and speak on something about Gary Nobles.
Yo, well. Class of 78.
That's all right, Robert. Gary Nobles, man, he's an angel right now, looking down on everybody right now. He's our angel. I still can't believe it, but wonderful brother. Like Robert said, man, smart, athlete, courage, but most of all, man of God. I'll see you again, brother, on the other side.
David Swain. David Swain, come over here and speak on Gary Nobles. 77 right here.
Bill Lynch, man, he was part of the Misfits.
Like I was telling everyone here, is I didn't go as way back as like the Crookshank days and the LA days, swimming in Dorsey, like some of the other people. But Gary was always just real with me, you know. Some of the things that, like a lot of people, I'm sure, some of the things that I did with Gary, I can't say on camera. I can't repeat, but it was a lot of fun. Just his energy. And I've gotten into some trouble with some of the stuff that I try to do for Gary to just to make him happy. But you know, regardless of you know, like as we get older, we all have to have love. We all have drama amongst each other. Some stuff's happened. Some stuff with typically with a woman. You know, your girlfriends or, you know, people or, but I just have love for all my brothers, all my sisters. You know, life is too short, and I appreciate Gary and all the people that he has brought into my life, all the people here, all the people that loved him. I appreciate the people here that put this together. And I know Gary is still doing his thing. He's still doing his thing. So, hey, Gary, rest in power, brother. And I'll be seeing you, all right?
He was close to Gary. We looked up to him, and he was funny as hell. Jatano Johnson, come up here and speak on Gary's numbers.
All right, now listen. I'm gonna tell you one quick story, real quick story, but you gotta know Gary to understand what I'm about to say. You gotta know Gary. Now, if you know Gary, you're gonna know this is a fact. And he made me so mad this night. We're going out to a party, all right? Hopping in the car, you know, doing our little thing and everything, man. So now we're getting out. Just got sharp, dressed all best I could be. Gary and I start laughing at something. We're dying laughing. We're walking into the party, but we're stopping and we're just laughing. We're holding on to each other and everything. Gary lets go of me, I let go of him. Yo, you're still laughing. Walking towards the house. And when I looked up, called myself gonna be cool going in this party, you gotta know Gary. Walking in this party, I got slobber from here all down my shirt. All down my shirt, you know. But you know, that was my boy, you know, bless his heart. And you know, Gary was a beautiful person. I gotta say that for sure. And it's the one thing that I always will remember about Gary more than anything else. He was always smiling and laughing, you know, always. So that will always stay with me, always stay with me. Now, you know, I'm sorry, you know, for this situation, but it's a real thing, you know. That's the one thing around it for all of us. When that time comes, it's just it, you know. But I want to ask you guys all a question just to get on another note real quick. What do you call a dog that has no legs?
No dog leg. Dog leg left.
All right, that's a good one. That's a good one, but I'm going to tell you. You call it anything you want, ain't like he's going to come to you.
I met Gary through Jatano, of course, because, you know, Gary was Jatano's little sidekick forever, so he was always at my house. Gonna miss him, gonna miss that contagious smile and laugh and all the joy and fun that we used to have growing up. Love you, Gary.
What about you, sir? Ooh-wee. Well, Gary and his brother, we were all competitive people. Good spirit. They kind of like was night and day in a way, but his infectious smile, his energy, and he always had a positive attitude. We're always going to miss you. Love you. God bless your family.
I gotta go, Alan.
Okay, well, you gotta say something for Gary.
Gary Nobles, I miss you so much. You're a wonderful person. I know you're in a good place, and you had a big impact on all of us. And you know. This is good. You're bringing us all together. Everybody's having a great time in your honor. So, and I'm honored to be here.
That's a good one.
I'm so glad that you know, when Gary passed away, I don't know who called me. It was like almost 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning. And matter of fact, it was Lenny Nelson that called me. He's going like, Daryl. I said, what? Yes? Did you know Gary died? I'm like, are you trying to play with me something like this morning? He said, no, he died, man, he died. Look on Facebook, Craig's on, I was like, so I'm calling it. I think I called my sister and I called some other people. And I mean, if people know Gary, they know us. We was really close, really close. And I kind of paused, you know, even to the point right now, I haven't had the chance to really ponder on it so much because his situation was in St. Louis, he was dealing with the family, and, you know, I just didn't grab hold to it until I sat at this park today and I looked at all those pictures. When I looked at all those pictures, it brought me right back to the circle. And what they're talking about sports, Gary Nobles was very competitive. Kimmy Higgins was very competitive. Darnell Marble was very competitive. Every person that I got blessed with my class within athletics, losing was not an option. And what Gary had also was a presence. He had a presence that you wanted to be around. We're gonna let Alan Shea speak.
This is a representation of our community growing up. Everything you've heard from our classmates and from those that have come to know Gary Nobles. And if we can duplicate this every time we lose somebody, just imagine the message we would be leaving for Pasadena and Altadena. People don't do this regularly, come out and really enjoy and open their hearts and their stories and have the kind of history that most of us have had. My experience with Gary Nobles started in the 6th grade through busing. It was when the west side bumped head with the east side of Altadena. And we all merged at Loma Alta School. And through that busing experiment, we found a bigger community and a more competitive community because we got to see the west side competition, which was extremely, extremely tough. Their little league was unbelievable. I mean, I thought they actually had a farm league out there. And of course, the football was so superior, everybody on my side of town got cut from Pop Warner. So that's how bad it was. And most people like, it's kind of funny, and I'm gonna share this with our class. I did not realize how unbelievable Andre Johnson was because we were focusing on Gary Nobles and Kimmy Higgins. I didn't know how phenomenal, where's Robert McClendon? Robert McClendon was because we were focusing on Kimmy Higgins and Gary Nobles from the west side. We didn't know that on the east side because the west side was always so dominant in sports and how they pursued it. But what we learned as seniors at John Muir High School, class of '77, is when we got together with all that dominant, we brought the bell back to John Muir High School the first time in 10 years. And we want to thank Gary Nobles for inspiring us to make sure we brought it back because that was our goal when we got there as 9th graders. So thank you.